This video will take you through navigation of the supplier dashboard once logged into Pro-vide 2. We'll look at the navigation within the site itself, the system headings and the widgets on the dashboard, help you find project information at a project, ITT, contract and SDP level, and also the supplier profile, managing that profile, keeping it up to date and managing users as well. Okay, so you've logged into Pro-vide 2 using your details. You're going to come to the main dashboard. We've got our navigation on the left, so we've got a main dashboard icon, bring you to this page. We have sourcing, which gives you access to project level information at a number of levels. We have your organization, where you can manage your profile and your categories. And we have your users, where we can manage and add users and set their access. We also then have the widgets within the middle here. These will enable you to manage a large majority of your projects through from start to finish. On the right here, we have quick links. These mirror largely what we've got here in sourcing. So just to access that information more quickly, you can go into project. That's going to pull you down a long list of all your projects. Within here, then we can click into the projects themselves. And this is predominantly going to show you the two main objects that are associated with a project, which is your ITT. That is where you've submitted your ITT response, and you can access that information within there. I'll show you that in more detail in a moment. And we also have the contract. If the ITT has been awarded, and we can see the status here, we'll then create the contract, which you'll sign via DocuSign. The contract is then accessible within here as well at a project level. Again, I'll show you that in a bit more detail in a moment. If we have other projects in here, so for example, this one actually has an ITT running, so you can see the status of that particular project and that ITT. So for this one, for example, if I was to click into it, this is a live ITT, you could go in and submit your response to that ITT. I'm not going to do that here. We do have another video on how to do that, so I'll leave that for now. So we can get back to the dashboard using our dashboard icon. And we can then access the ITT and contract level information more quickly without having to go through the project. So if we want to go directly into my ITTs, we'll see all of the ITTs that are either running, and we can see their status, have been closed and awaiting evaluation, or have been closed and awarded. You can then click into those individual ITTs. So if you did want to see what you had submitted historically for an old project, or a running project, I should say, you can click in, you can view response details, and you'll have access to all the information you submitted as part of the tender. You can also download the responses in the top right hand corner here using the ellipses, and that'll pull it out as an Excel spreadsheet. As well, if we go back, we can also see any running ITTs. So as I mentioned before, if there is one running, you've got some live invitations, you can click into your ITT and you can submit your response. We also have any attachments within the buyer attachment. So if you wanted to look back over old ITTs, you can access specifications and other things in there as well. Again, I can get back to the dashboard using the dashboard icon. And the next level down is the contract information. So any project that has been awarded will have a contract. So you may have a project without a contract if it hasn't reached that stage, but anything that has then been awarded will have a contract that sits within it as well. You can also see the status at the right hand side and start and end date of those contracts. You can click into the contract itself, and that'll bring you to the detailed settings. You can see some overview information, total contract value within there. You can then also access the SDP plan. Now this is the area where the milestones are created and sat, and these are for you to submit your SDP, and also you will see a buyer responding on their approval line. So you can see the status of a project within here in terms of which have been in progress, or which are in progress, so are due to have a response, and which are completed, and these will move down in line with the project milestones. These may be set up by month, by week, they may be outcome driven. It'll depend on the nature of the project itself. You can see the video on how to submit an SDP, which will also be in the video list. Back at the top of the navigation here within the contract, we can also go into contract management. We've got additional information which has some very high level contents and contract information within there. We also can see the prices as they were approved as part of the contract. So you can see what you've submitted and the contract value at the top there. And as well, we can access the work order itself. So if you click into master document, you can just see a little bit of information on when the document was created, requested and approved, and who it was signed by. And you can also view the signed master document within there and download that as a PDF if you need to see that. So that's at a contract level. Again, you can have a printable view in the top right hand corner as well if you need to access. If we go back to the main dashboard, I'm next going to show you going through to the organization, your organizational management. So you can access your profile here. Again, this mirrors what we've got on the left hand side here in terms of organizational profile. So if we click into that, this is the information that was captured when you set up your account. So we've got a number of levels at the top here. The first bit is the registration data. That's the core data that's associated with your business in terms of name, address, DUNS number, website information, and also the super user that was set up as part of the account. So this is the main super user who can administer the Pro-vide account and is also the key contact for the account. If you need to update that information, you can. Click into edit in the right hand side there. Address information is going to stay the same, so if you do need to change that for compliance reasons and governance reasons, you will need to contact us, so that isn't editable. But you can update some of the phone number and remit to address information below that. You'll also see that you can't change the super user details, so again, that is there. For security reasons, if you do need to change that, you can get in contact with us and we can change that for you. So if anything changes within there, it's important to keep that up to date, and the same goes for the rest of the profile information. We can see a history of changes just for audit purposes. So if anything's changed, you can see when it was done and who by. You can click into your basic profile. Now this is the information you supplied as well at the point of accreditation. So this information should be kept up to date, particularly with reference to things like your insurance levels. So if you click into an individual question, you can see the question and the answer, and you can edit that within there. So for example, if you had insurances, you only had professional indemnity, and you get additional insurances, you must go in and make sure you update that and save and continue. That'll update it to your profile. You'll then be asked to update the levels. So again, has your indemnity level changed? When does it expire? And this is a really important one to keep up to date. And are you willing to increase the levels? If so, as per projects. Again, save and continue. It'll ask you that for all the levels of insurance you've got. You can go through there and save all of your accreditations. Once you're happy with that, you've got to make sure your end dates are set. It's going to ask you to answer further questions. You can cancel out of that as well if you don't need to answer. We can go back to the list. So you can see the ones that are completed with the green ticks. These are the mandatory questions that you will have filled out as part of the accreditation. We've also then got the extended profile. Now in here, stored is the NEPRO 3 agreement and self-billing agreement, and some additional questions. The ones that are maybe of use to you are going to be around the social value. So these aren't mandatory, but you can click in and update information relevant to social value. And this just gives you a little bit more information when it comes to us shortlisting and projects, given the agenda around and the movement towards social value. So you can add in information around social value within your organization. So I've updated my profile. I can get back to my dashboard. We can see the information on the existing projects. Now as well in here, we've got our pending ITTS widget. So this is any ITTs that you have been invited to that are still due and you haven't responded to. So you see the name and the end date and the time remaining. You can click into that and you can go in and submit your response. Again, we've got another video to show you how to do that. You're going to click onto the submit response there and start filling out the ITT. So they'll always show there to make sure you're not missing them. If you click back to the list, you can then see all of your ITTs within there as well. Back into the widget, we're going to see any messages within here as well. This could be a clarification as part of a live ITT, or it could just be a message from a buyer as part of the project's day-to-day. If you click into the message, you can see what it is. You can see the subject and the message itself, and you can then reply within here and submit your message. Some suppliers and buyers use this, others will just communicate outside of the system, but this will be used for your clarification, should I say, questions. Back to the dashboard. The last bit I'm going to show you before we just go on to the SDP elements is managing users. So within here on the left-hand side, we've got the Manage Users icon. We can go in and see all the live users. So we've got a couple of users set up as part of the account. The one in orange here is going to be the super user that was registered within the registration data I mentioned earlier. You've also can click into your additional users that are set up and see their basic information, which can be edited by clicking on the edit button on the right-hand side. We can also set user rights for an individual user. There's a number of settings here. I'm not going to go through them all. If you want to change the users and set to a full rights, which will give them the same rights as the super user, so they can edit, they can manage projects, they can respond to SDPs, we're going to set that to full rights, and then we're going to save. If you do have further questions around the nuances of setting that up, we'll have another video and you can get in touch with Bloom. Back to the list. We can then also create a new user. So if we click into create, this is going to bring up your user form, basic information that you should be used to in terms of what needs to be captured. We've got division there, that just needs to say as division. Username will be what they use to log in with. You can then save, and that will send them an invitation to the account. They can access that via email, set up their password, and they'll be able to log in and access projects. So the last bit is around SDPs. So we've got the service update action widget in the top here. So this is the same list of actions that was viewed by project, but you can actually go in and see all of your live SDP actions. So all of those due by clicking on the supplier in progress. This will take you to a list of all pending SDPs that you can then, if you need to, go into and submit. Again, we'll have another video on submitting an SDP, so I'm not going to go into the detail of that here, but you can access all of those and see all of the live due development actions. If we go back to the dashboard, we can then see all of those completed. And again, we have the parallel matching line, the approval line for the buyer as well. So if I click into completed, these are all the SDPs you have submitted that have gone through to the buyer for approval. Now, one thing I will show you is within the project level, if I wanted to change who was responsible for managing a project and submitting SDPs, I can go into the project itself. I can go onto the actions, and if there's a specific SDP that isn't going to be the default user, which will be the super user as mentioned before, go into detail settings. I can click on edit, and you can update who is the person that may submit the SDP. So if it's not the default user, not the super user, I can select from the drop down, save that, and that user will now be able to go in and submit the SDP for that project. You will need to do that for each of the SDP actions. So if there's another user that needs to submit for all of them, just need to go into all the SDP lines and update the supplier action owner within there. Back to the main dashboard. And the last thing to show you is the login now at the top right hand side here. Click on that and that'll take you out of the site. If you do have any questions, please do get in touch on the phone, via email to suppliers@bloom.services. And we do have the supplier resources on the website bloom.services/supplier.resources. Thank you very much.